Oh man. Today's not the day, but that's besides the point. What's up, everyone? David here. Got a new video for y'all today. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss on any new videos. Because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So don't miss out. Now, right now, we're just gonna chalk it up to an off day. But notice how I'm trying to squat a little heavier. That is because right now I would be focusing on strength, building up my squat. But I know many of you don't have the goal of building up your squat. You have the goal of building up your quads, making this go bigger. You're not too worried about how much force your quads can contract against. You're worried about just having them big legs, specifically the quads. How do you make them fill out your shorts? That's exactly what this video is gonna be about. I'm gonna give you 3 exercises on how to get bigger quads. Oh, God. So, quads, muscle of the day. Let's go over a new anatomy first off. The reason why it's called quads is because it's got 4 muscle groups. Remember, the quadriceps are a muscle group. It consists of 4 muscles. Quad means 4. The typical one that most people would associate with the quad is right here, the teardrop shaped one, but there's actually 4. But regardless, all of them serve one function, and that is to extend your knee like this. Our quads are what allow us to lock out our knee like this. So when it comes to doing exercises for the quad, we gotta find exercise where we're doing that motion exactly. That's why many people, they opt for squats, because for a squat, what are you doing? You're forcing your knee to lock out because you're forcing the weight up. But the thing is, when it comes to squats, especially regular barbell squats, there's many ways to manipulate them so that way you can target other muscle groups. Most commonly, the glutes. But depending on how you angle yourself, it's gonna bias either a little bit more of the glutes or a little bit more of the quads. So tip number 1, or I should say exercise number 1 for quads, if you're someone who's already you can't get away from the barbell list. You have to do free weights, like myself specifically. I can't go a single leg day without actually squatting. I need to squat on a barbell. It's personal preference, but you don't have to. But just know that if you go high bar, that means that the bar sits on your traps. So most people normally would do high bar squat, and you focus on keeping your torso as upright as possible. That's gonna bias the quads a lot more. However, a lot of power lifters, they opt for low bar. So in that case, the bar sits one notch lower on your shoulders. So it's actually resting on your rear delts. That's gonna cause your torso to lean forward a little bit more. And whenever your torso leans a little bit more forward, that's gonna bias a little bit more of your glutes, because now your glutes are bending more, and your glutes serve the function of extending your hips. So getting that torso back upright, your glutes, when they contract, they lock you out at the hips. So that's why you wanna monitor that. So again, exercise number 1, if you're gonna stick with a squat variation, preferably high bar on the squat bar, and try to really focus on staying upright as possible. Oh! Oh! Oh my God. All right, so last 2 points I'm gonna make about the squat before we move on to the second exercise is, when it comes to doing your squats, again, we already emphasized high bar squat. You wanna go full range of motion. All right, don't be doing any quarter squats. If you're gonna be doing box squats, make sure the box is actually set pretty low. But you wanna really emphasize bending that knee as much as possible. And the way that you bend the knee as much as possible is on the way down, actually going low. Go through that full range of motion. Yes, you're also gonna be stretching the glute through more range of motion, but you're also gonna be targeting the quad a lot more. Because think about, the lower we go, the more our knee bends. Like I'm going down, I'm going down, I'm going down. Look how much my knee is bending. the more your knee bends, the more the quad is stretching. Therefore, the more range of motion it has to contract against to, you know, lock itself back up. So make sure we're hitting the full depth. And again, when it comes to training for bigger quads, for looks, aesthetics, bodybuilding, if you would, don't worry about going heavy. Like right now, I'm going heavy because I'm currently training for strength, but I know many of you have the goal of training for looks, having bigger quads. So if the goal is bigger muscles, don't worry about how much you're lifting. Your concern should not be how much weight is on the bar. Your concern should be how much stress are you placing on that muscle. You don't always have to place more stress on the quads by adding more weight to the bar. No, what you can do are things like manipulate the tempo, go slow on the way down, add a pause at the bottom, and then boom, back up. Nice and controlled. Things like that will place plenty of stress on your quads, so therefore you don't have to rely as much on just adding weight to the bar. Now, second point, going hand in hand with the full range of motion, is some people, if they go low enough, they don't have the ankle mobility to actually hit the depth that they want. Their heel starts coming off the ground. If that's you, a good quick fix would be using these little guys right here. I'm talking about using smaller plates. Usually like a 10 is a good size, and placing them underneath your heel. Because if you can place it underneath your heel, that's gonna elevate your heel a little bit more. The more elevated your heels are, the lower you can get, because now the limiting factor is not your ankle mobility. Now, if you don't want to use weight plates like that, what you can do is get yourself some heeled shoes. So some like Olympic weightlifting shoes, they have a good heel already built into them. That already elevates you. You can go ahead and use that. But I will like to say is, if you do have that bad of ankle mobility that you have to rely solely on the shoe or elevating your heel on this plate, then that's a pretty good sign that you should probably work on it. Go ahead and start stretching out your calves. You know, start doing some calf stretches up against the wall, stretch out your soleus, you know, things like that. Work on the ankle mobility. You shouldn't only be having to rely on this. This is just a band-aid. The shoes are just a band-aid. What you need to do is actually get to the underlying issue and actually address it. So there you have it, everyone. That's gonna be the first exercise for quads. Barbell squats, you already saw how I modified them. Use all those tips and you will definitely bias a little bit more of the quad. Now onto the second exercise. Okay, so the second exercise is going to be the leg press. Now, I already know many of you already do leg press, which is nothing wrong with that. It is a good exercise when it comes to building up your quads. A lot of people hate on the leg press for no reason, but if you're actually trying to overload and really promote as much growth as you can with those quads, this is definitely a go-to exercises. But there are certain things you can do to modify them to make them even better. Again, to really emphasize building up the quads. So here's gonna be what we gotta do. Oh God, woo. That burns. All right, so when it comes to the leg press, like I said, it's a good exercise for the quads, but there's ways to make it better. First off, lower the weight. No one is ever impressed with how much you can leg press, okay? No one's ever gonna go and ask you, hey bro, how much you leg press? No, people are gonna ask you how much you squat. And if you say, I can't squat because I got bad knees, but I could leg press 1,000 pounds, shame on you. You should never be that person. So when it comes to leg press, we already established, take off the weight. Again, if your goal is to build up the muscle, make it as big as possible, you shouldn't be concerning yourself with how much weight is on the bar. What you should be concerned about is how hard you're making that muscle work. You can go ahead and lighten up the weight, go slow, good ranges of motion, boom, really make that muscle burn, make it work hard, push it past its comfort zone. That's what bodybuilding is all about. That's what's gonna help you grow bigger legs. Now, when it comes to the leg press, it's a similar movement patterns as a squat. You're bending at the hip, you're bending at the knee. You're forcing your hip to lock out, you're forcing your knee to lock out. So therefore, it's gonna work your quads and your glutes, just like a squat. But there's ways to bias this exercise to focus a little bit more on the quads. Most people, when they're right here in the leg press and they're positioning your feet, they put their feet right here, right in the middle of the actual foot pad. That's okay. What that's gonna do is just kind of work your quads and your glutes pretty evenly. This is kind of like standard. Yeah, it's like standard. It's just typically a good, safe go-to. If you want to work a little bit more of your glutes though, you're gonna have to raise your feet a little bit higher, because now it's gonna force your hips to go through more range of motion as you go down, and therefore the glutes have to contract against more range of motion to get it back up. But if you want to target more of the quads, go ahead and lower your feet down even lower. The lower your feet are, the more it's going to target your quads. Now, if after you're doing your rep and you go down. But you get to the point where your heels start coming off the ground or start coming off the foot pad like they are right here. Again, I'm just exaggerating. My heels could actually stay on here. I'm just exaggerating for demonstration purposes. If it starts getting to this point and you're just pushing off your toes and the ball of your foot, that's bad. Work on your ankle mobility. At this point, maybe you have to raise your feet up just a little bit higher to help get the weight back up. But again, that's gonna be a really good way to modify this exercise to go even lower. Granted, some leg presses, they're gonna be a little bit more smaller when it comes to the foot pad. For example, me, I can't go any lower than I want to because then my heels will just be hanging off the edge. But if you have a big commercial style leg press, then you should be good to go. You can modify your feet however you please. So again, whenever you're doing the leg press, treat it exactly as you would with a regular squat. Have your toes pointed slightly outwards, the same way you would do with a squat. Push your knees out on the way down exactly how you would with a squat. Now, again, slow it down, all right? On the way down, take your time. Don't just rush it. Don't just bounce it straight down and let the momentum from the bounce help you bring it back up. No, let's focus on the eccentrics. The eccentrics is the lengthening portion of the muscle. So in the leg press, it's on the way down, because on the way down, that's when your quads are being stretched out. If you focus on the eccentrics, you will be seeing a lot more results compared to if you were just be rushing it, letting gravity do all the work. And this goes across the board for all the exercises that I'm listing today. Hell, it goes across the board for any exercise you're doing for any body part if your goal is to build muscle. You only focus on the contraction, the hard part, then yeah, you will be seeing results. But if you're just completely neglecting the eccentrics, the lengthening of the muscle, going slow on the way down on any lift, well, there's a lot of gains you're leaving on the table. So therefore, again, focus on going slow on the way down, really burn out those quads. You'll be seeing a lot more results than you would otherwise. Oh my God, that burns. Okay. So, last couple points about the leg press before we move on is, depending which gym you go to, depending which leg press you're using, some of them you can't get away with going more range of motion. The reason why is because it might hit down here. For example, me right now. Ooh, okay, that's literally as low as it goes. I feel like I can still go a little bit lower and still keep my foot completely flat on the pad, but I literally cannot because, you know, it's touching, which, oh, God, I'm not even letting my legs rest. If that's the case, no big deal. If you want more range of motion, what you can do is you can add some pads back here to kind of elevate your torso a little bit higher. So therefore you can get more range of motion. That's a good quick fix. But if you can't, not a deal breaker. Again, really emphasize that slow on the way down like I was doing and really just rep them out, really feel that burn. But since we're talking about the backrest right here, let me get a little bit more flattering angle. All right. This back pad, what most people don't know is it could actually move up and down as well. What most people do is they kind of just leave it at the setting that the last person that used the machine before them was on. But if you want to emphasize more of the quad, go ahead and angle it a little bit lower. Again, the more angled down it is, maybe the more range of motion you can get, because now you can go a little bit lower. Your knees won't be like jamming into your chest. So go ahead, test it out. Usually they'll have like something on there that measures out that says if you keep it at this setting, it's at this degrees, this degrees, this degrees. Kind of similar to how a back extension, you could adjust the angle. Same thing with here. Typically, the lower it would be, the better. So go ahead and mess around with that. And again, most people, you should be doing a leg press to build up your quads. So after you find that degree, just keep it there the whole time. Your quads will thank you for it. And third exercise that we're gonna be going over, if you wanna get bigger quads, because again, look at these quads. My quads are so white, but you know what? I'm working on them. I'm tired of people thinking I skip leg day. I do not skip leg day. They're just not as big as my upper body. We're gonna be going over sissy squats. It's got a funny name. It's gonna look funny itself, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do if you wanna get bigger quads. Most people will do leg extensions to work on their quads, which again, leg extensions, nothing wrong with it. It is one of the, it's like the perfect isolation exercise for the quad, because again, it's doing exactly what the quad is meant to do, which is locking out your knee against resistance. But what most people don't know is the quad, 4 muscles, which you already said, one of them though actually crosses over to the hip joint as well. All of the quad muscles cross over the knee joint. That's why it allows us to lock out our knee. But there's one specific quad muscle out of the 4, where it goes up here. So it actually allows us to bring our knee up as well. So whenever we're working out a muscle group, we want to do what? We want to stretch it against its full range of motion, then contract. Typically when we squat, yeah, we're bending our knee, but we're also bending our hip. When we do a leg press, it's the same thing. But with sissy squats, we're stretching the quad from the knee and we're stretching it on the hip. So we're stretching out the entire thing, which is what would be ideal if you want to really develop that quad. So here's what we're gonna do. It is a balancing act. So if you struggle with your balance, definitely stand next to something that you can hold on to. Right here, the only joint that is going to be bending is going to be your knee. So what I like to do is I like to go narrow stance, toes pointed slightly out, stand up straight. Your whole body should be one straight line. I like to flex my glutes. Think of it like I'm doing a hip thrust and then lock that into place. All right? Lock into place. This will keep you from bending your hips throughout the motion. Because again, we're not squatting straight down. We're not bending at our hips. We're keeping them locked out. So think of it like you're doing that hip thrust and holding it. From right here, you're going to be falling back and you're gonna be bending at your knees. So when you fall back, your heels are obviously gonna be coming off the ground. Look at the only joint that's moving is my knee and then back up. So from right here, a slightly better angle. Again, feet a little bit narrow stance compared to what your normal squat stance would be. Toes pointed outwards. Flex the glutes by hip thrusting your hips forward, shoulders back. Hand, you can hold it right here in front of you. Fall back. Look at my knee is the only joint that's bending. From my knee to my hips, my shoulder, one straight line. Use those quads, contract up. Notice how as I go on the way down, my heels have no choice but to come off the ground. That is perfectly fine. Go down low, boom, feel the stretch in those quads, and then come back up. If it starts getting a little too easy with body weight, go ahead, grab a plate, boom, you can hug it, hold it in front of you as you go down. Some people even go ahead and do it on the Smith machine. They have the bar on their back and then they fall forward and then they lean back against the bar or the Smith machine. So again, sissy squats. Yes, they got a funny name. Yes, they look a little awkward. I'm pretty sure if people don't know what that exercise is and they see you doing it at the gym, they're gonna be like, what's up with this guy? But you feel a massive stretch on the quad. And just like any other exercise, slow on the way down. Emphasize those eccentrics. You're gonna see good results for that quad. There you have it, everyone. 3 exercises that are really going to be helping you build up those quads. First exercise are going to be regular barbell back squats, an exercise that many of you are already doing, but there are ways that you can modify it to really target those quads a little bit more compared to targeting a little bit more of the glutes. Second exercise is going to be the leg press, like right behind me. Again, another common exercise, but there's little things that you can tweak to really help you build up those quads. And then third exercise, sissy squats. Not as common, but if you definitely throw them into your routine, you can switch them out. Every other week, go with leg extensions. Every other week, go with sissy squats. You're gonna feel a really good deep stretch in those quads. Slow and control on the way down. You get through the full range of motion. Perfect isolation exercise for the quads themselves. Hopefully this video was helpful. Comment down below, what do you do for your quads? What are some little tips that you do that really help you build them up, really build up the front side of the thigh, really help you fill out those shorts? Because again, we cannot skip leg day. Don't be that person that has a massive upper body and then really small legs. No, we gotta be proportioned. You have to train legs. Comment down below also any other video suggestions you'd like to see me do, whether it be about mindset, motivation, nutrition, diets, workouts, programs, whatever it is, comment down below. I'd be more than happy to help you all out. Be sure to subscribe not just to this channel, but my girlfriend's channel. My girlfriend's channel, that's your cue. No, your cue just to keep sitting there on your phone.
Hi.
All right, that's it, bye.
No! You got me.
And then our couples channel, because those who don't know, we do have a couples channel together. So you don't miss out on any new videos. Remember, new videos every week across the board for all 3 channels. For this channel specifically, new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So don't miss out. And then Instagram, TikTok, same thing. Be sure to follow us on the couples channels, my accounts, Ali's accounts. I put all the links down in the description below. With that being said, we'll catch you on next time.